以及到场的各位朋友，我们请各位全体起立。那个领导有麦子。
不是跟你说了吗？别说升国旗奏国歌，到最后分数再说升国旗。那边收到什么？
推不上去了，啊，到头了。
还在飞。两个轮毂，你看到没？我操！我一看要撞上去，我赶快这样打。
这是直播吗，亲爱的？天哪！
老爷爷来了。
来了，老爷爷是看直播。
老爷来了吗？
看了，老爷你好，加油加油！那个车手在哪？
阿姨，
你好可爱呀！你好可爱。
阿姨，拜，又不好意思了，拜拜，
拜拜，
谢谢。
谢谢，好可爱。
来，准备，来，动作啊！一个个来啊，一个个来，好，好，准备，走。
这个我看到了，我没看到。太小了，不小眼睛没有了。
跟场比较好。那我下去了，啊不是，哎，这个 大家挥手。小跑票，胡哥，啊，帮我拍一张位，帮我拍一张，跟他的，啊，你在，啊，我在啊。
这个完全没看到人家啊！
低一点了，对，这么高干嘛？靠过。好，看这里。手机，没有。
2个手伸不出来，我只能伸1个手了。那只手要摸机器啊。他让我2个手伸出去过前顶。2个手。
笑一下呀！
好，听你们的。
亲爱的各位观众朋友们，大家下午好！欢迎大家回到2019赛季长安 GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛的年度第5站天津站的比赛现场，我是方妮。那在非常炙热的阳光之下，我们现在的室外温度呢，差不多已经达到了37到38摄氏度，所以说这是一个非常高的天气啊。那大家可以看到身后呢，我们的所有车的阵型已经摆开了。接下来呢，13辆车将会进行的是为期1个小时的来自于 GT3 和 GTC 2个组别的同场竞技和较量。那说到昨天的比赛当中呢，韩寒和他的搭档 Joseph 驾驶的111号车组是从杆位发车，最后一路领先，最后拿到了冠军。而在第2回合的排位赛当中，他们又再次拿下杆位，所以在今天的比赛当中呢，他们将会从第1位发车。那么除此之外呢，王涛和黄熙冉驾驶的 GTC 型赛车呢是拿下了 GTC 组别的最快圈速，所以呢他们将会从第5位发车。那不知道这条4.7公里有17个弯道的全新的天津国际赛车场会为我们的车手带来怎样的挑战呢？让我们共同拭目以待吧。Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 5th stop of the 2019 season of China GT Championship right here at Tianjin International Circuit. I'm Sophie Lee. And as you can see, 13 cars are ready for 1-hour race for GT3 and GTC categories. Car number 111, Han Han and Joseph took the pole position. And also Huang Xizhan, his teammate Wang Tao, created the fastest lap time. They're going to start it from the 5th stop. So let's just cross finger for all the drivers. 但在我们接下来的比赛正式开始之前，今天在现场呢也非常高兴，有请到了金港股份的董事长叶明清先生。接下来时间我们一起来欢迎叶总，欢迎来到我们的现场。So Jim, welcome to the show. 欢迎叶总。那先跟我们分享一下，其实呢 China GT 已经进入到第4个年头了，陪伴着 China GT 一起长大。那到这里，金港作为 China GT 背后最主要的力量，能跟我们分享一下未来对于 China GT 的规划是怎样的 ？Any future plans for China GT that you would like to share with us？
首先 ，China GT 像今年一样的话，未来的 China GT 一定是走向世界。我们未来的话有这个当地的 GT 锦标赛。有区域的 GT 锦标赛，有全国的 GT 锦标赛，就像 China GT 也有这个 GT International， 就是 GT 走向世界的，走到一路一带的 GT。
那您亲自来到天津赛场来看我们的现场的比赛的氛围，你觉得有什么样不一样的地方，或者是带给你更新的感受的？
天津的 GT 粉丝很多，但是这回由于这个临近这个大的活动，所以人数做了一定的控制。所以尽量的话，就是人数越少越好，规模越小越好，然后能顺利的把这个比赛做完。到了上海站的时候，我们会做这个今年最大的一个活动，所以这一站的话，就是对不起很多的粉丝不能到现场来观看，希望他们通过在线，通过这个就是这个视频各种形式的话来了解天津站的情况。天津站这个车手反应非常好，就这个赛道很有这个挑战性。比赛也非常的这个精彩，所以这个车手们的话，觉得在这样的地方挑战，又跟秦皇岛一样的，是一部分赛道，一部分那个街道，非常有挑战性吧。所以车迷的话，一定能很这个享受这种非常激烈的这个比赛。
非常感谢叶董。So Jim just mentioned about actually China GT definitely in the future the plan is to go global. We have lots of local, regional as well as national GT festival, and also in the future China GT will go aboard and have lots of more international features inside of it. Talking about this stop in Tianjin because we're nearing our national holiday, so which is we need to control the scale of the whole event. So we're looking forward to the season finale in Shanghai. We sincerely hope we're going to be a grand event, and thanks our fans for supporting us during the whole season. 那接下来的时间呢，我们通过一段视频共同来回顾一下在昨天我们的 GT3 和 GTC 2个组别同场竞技的1个小时的一些激烈精彩的回放瞬间。And before we move on to the next session, let's enjoy a video clip that will show you the highlight from the GT3 and GTC category happened in yesterday. 好，那在我身旁的75号车组的黄西展，他和王涛呢驾驶的这个车组呢是 GTC 组别的最快的时速。西展，其实说一下，今天我们看到几乎所有车都已经有非常严实的遮光，因为可能很多观众朋友不能感受到的是现场的炎热，你自己感受到的现场的氛围，以及在就是准备今天的比赛过程当中，你觉得你最担心的状况是怎样的？能跟我们分享一下吗？
其实今天的天气非常的炎热，然后高温非常的高，整个地面你能感受到它的这个空气中的那个热气非常的对人都也很不舒服。那我们昨天的车子有遇到高温的问题，所以我们在动力上面有一点发生一点状况。那当然车队经过了一整个晚上的这个努力去解决这个问题，我们希望今天能把这个问题完全的改善。那也希望这个天气不要对我们的车子及我的个人造成更多的影响。
好，也希望你有一个好的起步，好吗，西展 ？So Xijan just mentioned about actually today, as probably you cannot feel, is that today is pretty hot and the heat on the track is definitely very obvious for all the drivers to experience. Yesterday they just met this problem related to the power deficiency during the whole race. So they fixed the car yesterday. Hopefully everything can be smooth as they think. And good luck for you, Xijan. And next time, cross back to your guys. 接下来时间转回到我们的解说间。
Thank you, Sophie, and welcome along everybody this afternoon for round 10 of the 2019 China GT Championship here in Tianjin at the V1 Auto World Circuit. We've got GT3 and GTC combined action for you this afternoon. Some fantastic racing yesterday, which saw Joe Osborne and Han take the win. And that 111 car on the right-hand side of your picture there is on pole position for today's race as well. So let's have a look at this V1 Auto World Circuit. 15 turns, 3.7 kilometers long, and plenty of overtaking spots. Lots of long straights followed by tight corners, and that means plenty of overtaking opportunities. This double left-hander at 9 and 10 there, very tricky, very tight, and then that opens up onto this long straight, and then the hairpin at turn 11, a very popular spot over the last day or two. That has been for overtaking. Another long straight before turn 12, and then another quick blast of acceleration before the right-hander at turn 13. Then the chicane at 14 and 15, and then the double right-hander to lead on to another lap of this V1 Auto World Circuit. Lovely bright sunshine today, and let's cross back down to the grid and hear more from Sophie.
好，在我身旁的是从刚位发车的111号车组的韩，其实说到今天发车，因为有冠军负重50公斤，哇，真的是很多的一个重量，尤其是基于今天早上我们车手的表现，你觉得这个重量对车来说有多大的影响？在天津这条赛道，同时呢，就是尤其是昨天是你先发车的，有没有什么成功的经验和车友交流的？
我们的赛车都很棒，那因为天气比较热，所以我相信对任何车手都一样。重量当然越轻越好，但是因为我们有这个货轮加重，但我相信对我和我的队友就应该是没有任何问题。那今天的发车第一棒就来先跑，那一会儿进到这个 pit 以后呢，我会跑后面的那个时间。那我希望还是跟昨天一样，一切都顺利。我相信我的队友跟我的团队很棒。
好，非常感谢韩，也希望一切好运，好吗 ？So Han mentioned about actually today the success balance, which is 50 kg, probably will not have lots of problem for him as well as for his teammate Joseph, who is already on the car. At the same time, because today the weather is pretty hot, so everyone is the same. Good luck for car 111 and nicer time. Cross back to your guys. 接下来时间将我们现场转交回解说间。
Yes, Joe Osborne and Han looking to make it 3 wins in 3 races now, having won yesterday's race, round 9, and also having won round 8 in Qinhuangdao last time out. 50 kilograms of success ballast on that car, but they had that ballast on yesterday as well by virtue of having won in Qinhuangdao, and it doesn't seem to have affected them too much. Let's have a look at the latest championship standings. Nick Yellerly first with 150 points. Jeffrey Lee, who didn't score yesterday, still second on 128. Alessio Picariello, third on 102. Then Eric Zhang and Adam Christodoulou on 100 points. Those drivers not appearing today. Lin Yu in 5th place, and then Kevin Chen, Ivan Lee following on. There you see your pole position car, 137.756. Good enough to see that 1111 McLaren on pole position. Joe Osborne will be taking the wheel for the first stint this time, with Han Han taking over for the second portion of the race. Second on the grid, Nick Yellerly, the championship leader, and he will drive the second portion of the race when he takes over from his co-driver Lin Yu, who will be starting this race. Min Hung and Lin Nan, who finished second in yesterday's race, will qualify third on the grid in that 66 YC Racing Mercedes. They have 35 kilograms of success ballast as a result of their second place yesterday. Fourth on the grid, Peter Liao in his number 2 D2 Racing Mercedes. 25 kilograms of ballast on Peter Liao's car because he finished third in yesterday's race. Then fifth on the grid and first in the GTC category, CJ Huang, who we heard from on the grid earlier, and his teammate Wang Tao will take over for the second portion of that race. Sixth on the grid, Alessio Picariello, the Belgian driver. There he is in the cockpit, and he'll hand over to Jeffrey Lee. That car didn't finish yesterday's race after a tangle early on. Seventh on the grid is Jesse Krohn, the Finnish driver, who drove so well yesterday until a tyre problem forced him to pit, which meant that car could only finish in fifth place, but he was challenging for the lead. He'll hand over to Betty Chen for the latter half of the race. Next up, it's the 918 Lamborghini of Zhengwan Cheng, the winner of the GTC race yesterday, and he'll hand over to Joby Huang later in the race. Next up in ninth place, it's Shang Lei in his number 82 YC Racing Lamborghini. Four of the 5 cars in the GTC category are Lamborghini Huracans of some description or other. This is Wu Pei in his number 8 Porsche in the single make trophy category, the sole representative in that category this weekend. Then 11th we have Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen in the 92 BMW. In 12th it's Li Jiaqi and Xiaomin in the 186 car. And then 13th is Dominic Ang and Song Bo bringing up the rear in their Radical Extreme Motorsports. Everybody filing off the grid now, not long to wait. The safety car ready to lead the field around there. When the safety car pulls off, those drivers will form up for one formation lap behind the safety car, warming their tyres, warming their brakes and making sure everything is just as it should be before the safety car pulls off, and then we go racing here in Tianjin. It's a rolling start, so those grid slots aren't used. When the race comes to start, the cars just form up 2 by 2, and then when the race director is satisfied that things are as they should be, the red lights at the top will go green, and we will be racing in Tianjin. That car you see at the back there is the medical car with the lights flashing on it. Now that car follows them around on their first lap at racing speed, so in case there is an incident or any sort of situation where medical attention is required, then that car can be on the scene very quickly, and that is a standard feature not just in China GT but in motorsport all over the world. The safety car leading away, and Joe Osborne leading the front of the pack at the moment. Lin Yu in second position, and Min Hung in the 66 car in third place. It's worth noting that the grid orders, obviously there's 2 races in each category every race weekend. We had round 9 yesterday, and this is round 10. So the driver order is reversed. So all the drivers that started the race in round 9 yesterday are on the sidelines at the moment, and the drivers that took over for the second portion of the race yesterday are starting this race. That is, of course, unless you're one of the few drivers like Shang Lei, for example, or Wu Pei, or Peter Liao, who don't have another driver, and they will be racing the entire 1 hour distance by themselves. But most of the other teams have 2 drivers, and they will swap over those drivers at the mandatory pit stops. Every car has to make a mandatory pit stop when the pit window opens after 25 minutes of racing. That pit window is open for 10 minutes, during which time all the cars must come in and serve a mandatory pit stop and be stationary for a mandated time. Even those cars where they only have 1 driver, the driver must pull up and just sit on his marks for the allotted time before then pulling away. And that, of course, does give the teams and mechanics the chance to make some changes, perhaps change tyres. We haven't seen that so far this weekend. Nobody changing tyres, or at least nobody making a scheduled tyre stop. We did have a few in the GT3 and GTC race yesterday making an unscheduled stop for tyres for various reasons. But it's perfectly okay to make a tyre stop during your allotted pit stop. You can do just about anything that you like, as long as you can then be out in your allotted time. You don't want to lose too much time in the pit lane. Normally, you just see the mechanics and engineers checking tyre pressures and just making sure everything is as it should be. We're coming to the end of the lap now. This is the chicane at turn 14 and 15. No, it's not. It's the final corner, beg your pardon. So the safety car pulls off. The cars will now line up 2 by 2. The red lights are on. And the red lights are still on. That means we are not racing yet. So the race director not satisfied that everybody was lined up as they should have been. And that means we now have another formation lap. So the race has not begun yet. You can see there Joe Osborne weaving from side to side, as they all are, trying to get some heat into those tyres. These tyres, of course, are slick tyres, not like the treaded tyres that you have on your road car. These are designed purely for the track, no grooves in them at all, and they're just designed to provide as much grip and as much speed as possible. But they only work at their optimum when they're nicely warm. You don't want to go racing on cold tyres, a bit like running a marathon without stretching beforehand. You're liable to do yourself some damage, and just as these drivers are liable to get into an accident of some description if they try to race hard and brake hard without having first warmed up their tyres and their brakes, and that's what they're doing now when they're snaking from side to side. Those yellow flags waving in the background, now that means that there's a hazard on the track usually, and it's a signal that there should be no overtaking at this point on the track. They're waving at the moment because, well, we haven't started the race yet. We're still on the second formation lap, and obviously with no safety car at the front of the field this time, then the drivers are obliged to go at a reduced speed of their own accord. But Joe Osborne now essentially acting as the safety car on the front of the pack. There's to be no overtaking. Nobody should overshoot their marks or overtake anybody on this formation lap. It's simply just about dialing the car in, getting everything ready for 1 hour's racing around this V1 Auto World circuit here in Tianjin. It's a lovely warm day today, as you can see, a bit of a heat haze developing in the background. Certainly hotter than it was this morning for the GT4 race, and CJ Huang on the grid saying earlier how the hot temperature might affect the performance. But Joseph Osborne just backing the pack up now as they come through the final few corners. The drivers have to line up 2 by 2, so Joe Osborne and Lin Yu will line up together. Min Hung and Peter Liao will line up together. CJ Huang and Alessio Picariello will line up together, and so on and so forth further down the grid. Let's hope we get away this time. The red lights are on. And we are green, and we are racing in Shanghai. And look at Alessio Picariello on the left-hand side. Contact there, one of the Lamborghinis to the side, but as they go through the first corner, still Joe Osborne in the lead. Picariello taking to the escape road. All of them through the first few corners. Picariello going very wide there. Looks like he's made up a place into 5th place, but Joe Osborne still in the lead. Picariello looking up the inside of Min Hung, going up into 4th place. So Picariello making up 2 places there. Joe Osborne still in the lead. Lin Yu still holding on to 2nd. Peter Liao still in 3rd. Picariello up to 4th from 6th on the grid. Min Hung down to 5th position. So this is the very tight left-hander, turns 9 and 10. Joe Osborne leading the field round on this long straight as they come up to the turn 11 hairpin. Picariello having a look up the inside, but not quite close enough for a move on Peter Liao just yet. Peter Liao still in 3rd position. Picariello still 4th. Min Hung down to 5th. Joe Osborne leading. Lin Yu in 2nd place. Picariello looking dangerous there in 4th place. Looks like he might have a little look, but not quite close enough again. Peter Liao holding his own. Picariello, one of those drivers taking the very wide line. There's a lot of runoff there at turn 12. We've seen drivers doing that earlier this weekend. But you don't want to be going too far wide there because that wall is very unforgiving. Joe Osborne still in the lead. Lin Yu still in 2nd as they come up to the chicane. Peter Liao in 3rd place. Picariello following close by in 4th. In my excitement to get underway, I must have said we were in Shanghai. We're most certainly not. We're in Tianjin at the V1 Auto World Circuit. Apologies for that. Clearly, my excitement got the better of me after 2 formation laps, but there we are. We're racing now. Joe Osborne at the front. And that is Jesse Krohn, beg your pardon. That is not Lin Yu in 2nd place. Jesse Krohn all the way up into 2nd from 7th on the grid, and he's just set the fastest lap of the race. So Jesse Krohn really with the bit between his teeth now. Had a disappointing race yesterday, was challenging Joe Osborne for the lead, much as he is at the moment, but then had a tyre problem and had to make an unscheduled stop, and that forced him out of the reckoning for the victory. Eventually salvaged 5th place, but Jesse Krohn very eager for his first China GT victory today, I would think. Lin Yu, who did start second, is now down in 9th place, or 8th place, excuse me, so not a fantastic first lap from Lin Yu, but plenty of time still left in the race, and he's got championship leader Nick Yellerly to hand over to when he comes to make his pit stop, so hopefully that number 90 BMW can get back into the reckoning at the front of the pack. Meanwhile, top honours are being shared at the moment by Joe Osborne leading the race and Jesse Krohn in 2nd place, and they're pulling away quite substantially now from Peter Liao, who's doing a good job still holding on to 3rd place. No, he's not, because Alessio Picariello there you now see in 3rd place. So Picariello up into 3rd, so the front 3 cars are all driven by the pro drivers, so no real surprises there, but they will all have to then pit when the pit window opens, and they will hand over to their amateur counterparts, who you would think would not be quite so fast. So it's not a foregone conclusion just yet. Joe Osborne still in the lead, and a new fastest lap from Joe Osborne as we start lap 4, 1:37.3. Jesse Krohn a 1:37.4. Alessio Picariello in 3rd, a 1:38.0. And he's now starting to pull away from Peter Liao, who's now in 4th, a 1:40.3. So Picariello over 2 seconds quicker on that last lap than Peter Liao. 53.5 minutes still to go. Joe Osborne still leading. Jesse Krohn in 2nd place. Nice big windscreen on that McLaren. You can see Joe Osborne's helmet. You can see his hands working to turn the wheel as he brakes hard down for this hairpin. And you can see him really fighting that car, trying to throw it round the corners. Remember, he's got 50 kilograms of success ballast, and Jesse Krohn has none at all, because that car finished outside the top 3, and I wonder if that is going to help Jesse Krohn as he looks for a way past the McLaren. That BMW will be noticeably lighter. Joe Osborne getting very close to the tyres as they go through turn 12, and Jesse Krohn very close behind the McLaren now indeed. Osborne getting a little bit wide out there, Picariello going very wide out there. He likes the escape road, does the Belgian driver, but Joe Osborne going through the chicane. Jesse Krohn right on his gearbox there. Fantastic racing from these two. It's a pity we didn't see this all race yesterday. And Jesse Krohn unfortunately had a tyre problem, had to drop back. But before then he was catching Joe Osborne at a rate of about a second a lap. Joe Osborne feeding the power in through the front of the car as they go through. They both go very wide around turn 2, just 0.343 seconds the gap. And Jesse Krohn not quite close enough, nudging the back of Joe Osborne there. The McLaren does seem to be slow in the slow corners. The BMW seems to be a little bit quicker, perhaps because of that weight penalty. Osborne going wide as they go through the right-hander at turn 6. Krohn taking the tighter line, but no way through just yet. Osborne still holding on to the lead. A long straight now. Let's see if Jesse Krohn can make any headway. He's flashing his lights, saying, "Move over, I'm quicker than you." But no way past at the hairpin there. But again, Osborne's very slow. Look how slow he is off the exit of that corner. And I wonder if Krohn might have a chance here, or whether he was then blocked by Osborne's slow exit to the corner. It doesn't look as if he's close enough just yet. The McLaren seems to be slow off the corners, but then does seem to be advantageous in terms of ultimate top speed, and that's preventing Jesse Krohn from getting close enough to have a real go. But he's still absolutely on the gearbox of that McLaren. Alessio Picariello taking his customary wide line through there in 3rd place. I wonder if these two at the front are actually slowing each other down because they're squabbling, and that will give Picariello a chance to ease up. And then Osborne, you heard the screech of the tyres there. Osborne got all crossed up as he came through the final turn. Let's see what the gap is now. 0.288 seconds on that last lap. And Picariello did indeed take 0.7 of a second out of those two. Picariello's last lap 1:37.4, Jesse Krohn a 1:38.1, and Joe Osborne a 1:38.1 as well. So they are slowing each other down by squabbling like this as Jesse Krohn gets very close to the back of the McLaren once again. Osborne still in first place. Jesse Krohn still in second. Picariello still third. Peter Liao now some 7 seconds behind Picariello in fourth place. Still doing a very good job there. And Min Hung in fifth position in the 66 car. But at the front, it's all about these two. Jesse Krohn taking a lot of curb on the inside there. Joe Osborne taking a slightly wider line out of the corner, and Jesse Krohn is going for it now up the inside. Is this the moment? It looks like it could be. Jesse Krohn inching ahead there as they come under braking for turn 12. Jesse Krohn takes the lead. So we have a new leader, the Finnish driver, Jesse Krohn, in the 91 FIS Team AAI BMW. As they break down towards the right-hander at turn 13. Joe Osborne now down into second position. Picariello still in third and still enjoying that wide line on the exit of 13 there. Now Jesse Krohn has got a clear track ahead of him, and let's see if he can start to pull away, because he's not got any of the success ballast that Joe Osborne has on his car. Osborne, of course, winning yesterday's race along with his teammate Han Han. Picariello kicking up dust. He likes the escape road, doesn't he? Jesse Krohn still in the lead. 0.48 seconds now ahead of Joe Osborne in second place. Somebody's had a bit of a go at one of the bollards there. Hopefully that won't cause too much of a problem. We saw that happen yesterday. Those bollards there just on the inside of turn 1. And clearly somebody's just run over one of them, but thankfully they're pretty soft. Don't think there should be any major damage or cause for concern. And you can see how much quicker Jesse Krohn is through the sweeping S-bend section of the track here. This is turn 9 and turn 10, leading onto the long straight before the hairpin at turn 11, a very popular passing place. That's not where Jesse Krohn did for Joe Osborne. That was at turn 12, coming up after this hairpin here. But Jesse Krohn now looking comfortable in the lead, and I wonder if Joe Osborne is just slipping back into the clutches of Picariello in third place. Osborne's last lap a 1:38.7, Picariello a 1:37.6, which was the fastest lap that anybody did last time round. Jesse Krohn still holding, no, Joe Osborne, sorry, holding the fastest lap of the race, a 1:37.352. Jesse Krohn equally quick, a 1:37.363, and Picariello a 1:37.441. So the three of them setting a pretty similar pace up at the front as Picariello bounces over those curbs. Wants to be a bit careful doing that, because a few rounds ago in Ningbo we had some very high curbs. People were bouncing over them, and they did cause a few punctures. So the drivers don't want to be doing that too much, but Picariello does seem to be enjoying hanging it out on the outside of the corners there. 2.9 seconds now, the gap between second and third. And that is Peter Liao coming through now. A bit of a gap developing, 11.7 seconds behind Picariello now, Peter Liao. Picariello's easing away from him at around about 2 seconds per lap. But Peter Liao very much the best of the rest so far in this race. He's got 7 seconds ahead of Min Hung, who's there in 5th position. Haven't seen too much of him so far, but there he is in the 66 YC Racing Mercedes. Coming up to 1/4 distance now as Min Hung enters the S-bend complex in the middle of the track. Next up is the number 92 BMW. That is Kevin Chen at the moment. And then line astern, BMW's in formation, because just behind Kevin Chen is Lin Yu in 7th position in the number 90 BMW. So FIS Team AAI BMWs in 1st, 6th and 7th positions so far. They had a bit of a tough time of it yesterday, in contention for the win, but Nick Yellerly was taken out of contention by an unfortunately timed safety car, and Lin Yu going very wide there, but he's managed to get back on track and looks as if he's still at racing speed, so hopefully no problems there for Lin Yu. That's not what we want to see. We want a nice full grid, lots of cars racing each other. All 13 cars that started the race are still in it. As we look further down the grid now, this is the 75 Lamborghini of CJ Huang, who is still leading in the GTC category and in 8th position overall, but being pushed very hard indeed by Dominic Ang, the Malaysian driver, who started dead last on the grid, but he's looking for a way up the inside now, not quite close enough. CJ Huang still leading in the GTC category. Dominic Ang in 2nd place in that very uniquely designed Radical. those cars do tend to be very quick in the corners, but do sacrifice a little bit of top-end speed. So I wonder if CJ Huang will pull away a little bit as they come to the first corner. Well, Dominic Ang going through the inside and taking the lead in the GTC category. CJ Huang just having another look as they go through turn 2, and it looks like somebody else has had a go at one of the bollards. CJ Huang just kicks it up there, but no damage done. CJ Huang having a little look, but Dominic Ang now very firmly ensconced in first place in the GTC category, 8th position overall. We're past 1/4 distance now. Dominic Ang taking a wider line in that right-hander at turn 6 than CJ Huang. We've seen drivers taking different lines through there, so obviously more than one way of doing that particular corner. As they come onto the long straight, Dominic Ang now with a little bit more of a lead. Dominic Ang, the only pro-rated driver in the GTC category, so we might expect him to move to the front of the GTC category, but it's taken him 15 minutes to do so far. So clearly lots of competitive driving in that category. As one of the BMWs, that is who is that? That's the 91 car of Jesse Krohn, so that's putting a lap on the 82 Lamborghini. So already with 15 minutes to go, 15 minutes of the race gone, Jesse Krohn now lapping the back markers. Joe Osborne in second place, coming up to put a lap on Shang Lei as well. There he goes up the inside. Shang Lei very respectful and letting him by. Joe Osborne still in second place, and Picariello very close by, but he's being held up a little bit there as they go through turn 11. Picariello going through there, but that was a bit of an unfortunate time for Picariello to come across the slower back marker, because looks like he lost a little bit of time there. But there, anyway, now he goes through turn 11, the hairpin, and the front three now spread out slightly. Jesse Krohn 2.6 seconds ahead of the last count of Joe Osborne, who is 2.5 seconds ahead of Picariello, who is 16.7 seconds ahead of Peter Liao. So the front three really pulling away at the moment, but as I said earlier on, they've then got to hand over to their amateur drivers for the second portion of the race, so all is certainly not yet lost for the other racers. Picariello there coming through turn 14 to start another lap. And as they go through to start lap 11, the gap now 4 seconds Jesse Krohn has over Joe Osborne, so he took about a second and a half out of the British driver on that lap alone. That bollard's still there waving around on the track, but doesn't seem to be causing anybody too many problems. The race director's not seeing fit to throw a yellow flag or a safety car out to deal with that, so obviously a very minor incident as Jesse Krohn negotiates the right-hander at turn 6. Coming up to put a lap on the number 8 car, that is Wu Pei's Porsche, the only car in the one-make trophy category. Krohn there just flashing his lights, letting the back marker know that he's there and that he'll be coming through very shortly. Looks as if he was getting out of the way to let Jesse Krohn by. Here we are, this is the battle for 6th position between Kevin Chen in 6th place and Lin Yu in 7th. The 2 of the 3 FIS Team AAI BMWs in the race, running in team formation. Both of them taking that wide line through turn 6 and turn 7. And the FIS Team AAI hoping for better things yesterday. None of their 3 cars managed to finish in the top 3 of yesterday's race. But in some ways, maybe that might help them today, because that means that none of those cars have any success ballast that they have to carry around with them. Success ballast is imposed on the top 3 finishers in the previous race. And if you win that, you have to carry around 50 kilograms of ballast. If you come second, it's 35 kilograms, and 25 kilograms you have to take around with you if you finished in 3rd place. So Joe Osborne having to lug around an extra 50 kilos, and maybe that is why Jesse Krohn is dropping him at a rate of a second and a half a lap at the moment, because Joe Osborne is now some 4 seconds adrift of the Finnish driver. And Alessio Picariello, the Belgian driver, is closing up, as you can see, both of them now taking that wide line through turn 6 and 7. And then this, the double left-hander at turn 10. Very unforgiving concrete walls on both sides of the track there. And Picariello looks as if he's closer to Joe Osborne on this lap as they come down to the hairpin. Had a few problems with brakes over the last couple of days. Some of the cars there at the hairpin, very difficult to stop. Cars weaving from side to side, desperately trying to stay in control. But no such problems for Joe Osborne or Alessio Picariello there. All very smooth stuff. Both of them taking a bit of exit road in turn 12 there, and now the right-hander at turn 13. So we're at 1/3 distance now, 20 minutes gone and 40 minutes still to go. Joe Osborne still in second place, Picariello very close behind him now in third. I should think the gap now is much less than 1 second. It was 1.5 seconds the last time they went over the line, but let's have a look and see what it is now. Jesse Krohn in the lead has already crossed the line to begin lap 13. Joe Osborne now just 0.6 of a second ahead of Picariello and some 6 seconds adrift of Jesse Krohn in the lead. So Joe Osborne lost another second to Jesse Krohn, just having to go around that bollard again. Maybe that bollard is causing them a little bit of issues there. They don't want to be riding over that too much. Picariello took 0.8 of a second out of Joe Osborne on that last lap, and he's visually much closer now, the Belgian driver, towards the back of Joe Osborne's McLaren. Through they go. This is turn 9 and turn 10. Picariello getting very close, flashing his lights, looking to the inside. Not enough room there, just putting his nose out, reminding Joe Osborne that he's there, and reminding him that he would very much like to get by if he could. But Joe Osborne, a very experienced driver himself, a McLaren factory driver. He's certainly no slouch in front of the wheel, and he's going to use all his experience to try to keep Picariello behind as the Belgian driver has a look up the inside, taking his wide line again around turn 12. He wants to be careful he doesn't do that too much. But anyway, there he goes. Picariello in third place. Joe Osborne in second place. Looks as if Picariello might have lost a bit of time there on his little excursion on the escape road. With the pit window set to open in just under 3 minutes' time, I should think the front three drivers will not be coming in just towards the beginning of the pit window. Joe Osborne there looking over his shoulder just to see where Picariello is. The gap now 0.7 seconds, so he's managed to extend it ever so slightly, but Jesse Krohn still up in the lead, and Picariello doing his best to avoid that bollard again there as they get very close, going through the double right-hander at turn 3 into the S's. Both of them taking the wide line. Joe Osborne, you can see his hands moving there as he desperately tries to wring the neck of that McLaren around this double left-hander, and Picariello looked as if he carried a bit more speed through there. It looks as if he's closer now. I wonder if he's going to go for it. Osborne is going slightly defensive. Picariello having a look up the inside, but there's no room just there. But is he going to try up the inside, the switchback here? No. Joe Osborne covering the inside line well. Picariello, no room to go up the inside there. And a good exit there from Joe Osborne from that corner, because it's very easy if you go defensive into the first part of it, it can compromise your exit and then compromise you on that long straight afterwards, and then you'll just be a sitting duck. So that was good driving from Joe Osborne to keep his car pointing in the right direction and keep up in second place and ahead of Picariello, who is still pushing very hard. And in fact, he's just been given a warning for exceeding track limits. We've seen him do that quite a bit as he hops over those curbs. So Picariello wants to be careful that he doesn't do that too much. And in fact, Joe Osborne has also been warned, and he's been given the bad sportsmanship flag for exceeding track limits. So he's already received a warning, he's now been given the flag. So we'll have to see exactly what that means later on in the race, but certainly these two drivers, they're pushing very hard. Osborne to keep Picariello behind him, and Picariello to try to overtake Osborne, and both of them need to be a little bit careful about not going over the track limits too much, because the stewards clearly taking a rather dim view of that at the moment. turn 9 and turn 10 onto this long straight. Picariello closing on Joe Osborne. Not quite as close this lap as he was on previous laps. Joe Osborne there looking to the right-hand side. You get a wonderful view of Joe Osborne there through the windshield of that McLaren. You can really see him working away, looking in his mirrors, looking for his apex, and of course turning the wheel as well. You can really see him working his way around this V1 Auto World Circuit in Tianjin. Picariello going wide there again. And the pit window is now open. So 25 minutes of the race having elapsed, the pit window is open, and that is the Porsche of Wu Pei, and he's in already. Firing up the car again. And I wonder if that was an unscheduled stop actually, because or if he came in just before the pit window, because he was supposed to stay on his marks, Wu Pei, for 60 seconds, and there's no way that he's done that because the pit window hasn't been open for 60 seconds. So I should think Wu Pei will have to stop again. Not sure if that was an unscheduled stop for whatever reason, or whether he just misjudged the timing of the pit window, but bad luck for Wu Pei. Meantime, this is still the battle for second place. Joe Osborne and Picariello still going at it, hammer and tongs. They've now got the back marker Wu Pei in their sights as well. Hopefully he'll get out of the way, because the two drivers behind him are much quicker. And Picariello might see this as an opportunity if Osborne ends up a bit boxed in behind Wu Pei, if he encounters the back marker at a particularly slow corner of the track, as we look at the 186 car of Li Jiaqi, who will hand over to Xiaomin, and Picariello side by side with Osborne, who has to go very defensive. Picariello going around the outside, they bang bodywork a little bit. I think Picariello might have wanted to go for the switch back up the inside of Osborne, but he just couldn't turn his car around in time to get up the inside of Osborne. He's having another look now as they go through turn 12, but Osborne lives to fight another day in second place. I wonder if Osborne just got a little bit boxed in when he was trying to overtake Wu Pei, and perhaps that compromised his exit. And Picariello, a nice bit of opportunistic driving, trying to use the back marker to overtake Osborne, but unfortunately it didn't work, as Lin Yu into the pits, and Nick Yellerly, the British driver, taking over. Now Lin Yu came in from 6th position and quite a way down on the leaders. Nick Yellerly, the pro driver, a BMW factory driver, very experienced campaigner, was very quick in yesterday's race, but his tactic was ruined by the safety car, which wiped out the lead that he'd been busy cultivating. As Osborne now and Picariello going up and putting one lap there on Peter Liao, as Nick Yellerly exits the pit lane. Osborne and Picariello, neither of them have pitted yet, and neither has Jesse Krohn, who now leads by 10 seconds. So Jesse Krohn 10 seconds ahead of Joe Osborne, while these two have been squabbling. Jesse Krohn has been busy banging in the fast laps. That last lap was a second and a half quicker than Joe Osborne. As Picariello looks to the outside here, Joe Osborne again going defensive. But the Belgian driver not quite close enough, although he might make a move up the inside. They bang wheels again, and Picariello looked like he got much better drive off the corner. They're going side by side now, but it looks as if Joe Osborne, is he still just ahead? No, Picariello side by side and taking, yes, Joe Osborne for second place. So Picariello finally this lap gets it done. Just off the exit of turn 11, managed to get the switch back, get a much better drive off the corner, and then that helped him go past Joe Osborne and up into second position. So a race-long battle between these two, and finally, after half an hour's hard work, Alessio Picariello makes it past Osborne into second place, as several more cars peeling off into the pit lane. That's Jesse Krohn in the foreground, just putting a lap on one of the back markers. Picariello now in second place, 10.7 seconds behind, and 0.687 seconds ahead of Joe Osborne now, with just about half of the race gone and half the race still to go. Jesse Krohn still in the lead, having lapped a couple of back markers. Alessio Picariello still in second place. Joe Osborne still third. Min Hung now showing in fourth place. Min Hung, another driver not to have pitted yet. The timing screens are probably going to be a little bit skew with for the next lap or two until everyone's pitted, and then everything usually sorts itself out and we know exactly what's what. There is the 918 Lamborghini of Zhenwang Cheng handing over to Zhou Bi Huang for the second portion of the race. That car was running second in the GTC category as Zhou Bi Huang re-enters the race. Jesse Krohn, another driver not to have pitted yet, still leads the race, and he'll want to put in as many fast laps as he can before he hands over to his co-driver Betty Chen. And there is another one of the BMWs. That's the 92 car of Kevin Chen. He gets out and Ivan Lee comes in. That car was running in 6th place. Another one of the 3 FIS Team AAI BMWs in the race. And a tyre change. It looks like they're changing the rear tyres. Interesting, we haven't seen too many tyre changes so far in this race, but those rear tyres, obviously that BMW M6 GT3 is a rear-wheel drive car, and clearly they've decided to put a fresh set of boots on. Not the front tyres, so they're obviously holding up okay, but perhaps a little bit more rear grip wouldn't go amiss. As Picariello negotiates the S-bend, Joe Osborne behind in 3rd place. Neither of these drivers have pitted. None of the top 3 cars have come in for their mandatory pit stops just yet. Jesse Krohn still in the lead, a 1:37.8 last time round. Picariello a 1:37.9, and Joe Osborne a 1:39.5. So Picariello, now that he's got past Joe Osborne and has the advantage of a clear track, starting to put in the fast laps. And again, he'll want to build up as much of a lead as he can before he hands over to his co-driver, Jeffrey Lee. 28 minutes of the race still to go, and 3 more minutes of the pit window. So Picariello might have time for another lap after this before he comes in. Likewise Joe Osborne, and likewise Jesse Krohn. Picariello coming to put a lap on the 75 Lamborghini of CJ Huang, and they both come in at once, and Picariello looked as if he was a bit taken by surprise there. Looked as though he nudged CJ Huang on their way into the pit lane. Joe Osborne just having a look at his pit board. He's not come in. I should think he'll come in at the end of this lap. And they come in, those 2 cars equally together as they came in the pit lane. And a little bit of bodywork there just coming off. So Picariello obviously rubbed the back of CJ Huang there. Hopefully that's not too serious. But CJ Huang coming in, and Wang Tao will come in for the second portion of the race. CJ Huang just giving him a quick pep talk. Wang Hao with the open face helmet, CJ Huang with the full face one. Either one is okay in GT racing. Wang Hao drove in this morning's GT4 race and drove very well, finished 3rd. So he's had a good weekend so far, Wang Hao. Clearly likes this Tianjin track, as Min Hung comes into the pits as well. And he'll hand over to Lin Nan. As we look now at the 92 BMW, now driven by Ivan Lee, and a bit of contact there, was there? The number 90 car of Nick Yellerly looks as if he made contact with the 186 Lamborghini. You can see a lot of smoke there. That I wonder if that's a problem with the car, or whether it's the tyres rubbing on the bodywork. We've seen that happen so far this weekend, and the 186 car pulling off. Yes, you can see a bit of bodywork on the left-hand side there, and that is rubbing against the tyre, and that's what's causing all that smoke. Let's see if we can see what happened here. I wonder if Nick Yellerly just got a bit too close. Yes, he's just nudged the back of the 186 Lamborghini there. Perhaps was a bit taken by surprise, didn't think he was going to be going quite so slowly, but that's hit the bodywork of the Lamborghini, and that's the bodywork now touching the rear tyre, and a lot of friction there, and obviously that car no longer able to run. So that is very disappointing for Xiao Min, now driving that car. Nick Yellerly, however, doesn't seem to be too badly damaged, doesn't seem to be too badly affected, and the safety car is out. The safety car has come out. So I wonder if that is to clear up the debris that has been caused by that contact between Nick Yellerly and Xiao Min. Peter Liao coming in for his pit stop there. Mechanics just checking the tyres. Don't think they're changing anything, just checking tyre pressures and making sure everything is all right. Safety car there will now pick up the leaders. And this, I should think, is good news for Nick Yellerly, because he had a lot of time to make up before arriving towards the front of the field. Remember, all the three cars that were setting the pace earlier, Jesse Krohn, Joe Osborne and Picariello, the pro drivers, they've just handed over to their amateur drivers, who won't, in theory, be as quick. Whereas Nick Yellerly, he's the pro driver, as that is the 25 Radical pulling over to one side of Dominic Ang and Song Bo. Song Bo having taken over, and that car is not in a very good place. That's right on the racing line. You can see there the curbing. That's where the drivers go to take the racing line for the corner. So it's bad news if they can't shift that car quickly. We're already under safety car conditions, so they might have to keep that safety car out a while longer so that they can clear the stricken wreckage of that Radical there. Peter Liao still in the pit lane. He's been in the pit lane for a very long time, and I wonder if this is terminal, in fact. Peter Liao, that car's up on its jacks and doesn't look like it's going anywhere. Now let's have another look here. Yes, this is Picariello and CJ Huang came into the pits at the same time. I think Picariello didn't realise that CJ Huang was coming in at the same time as him, caught a little bit by surprise and wasn't able to stop. And yeah, a little bit of contact there as the two of them go to their pit box, and more contact there between Nick Yellerly and Xiao Min, and that unfortunately was terminal for Xiao Min. Xiao Min pulling off the track at the turn 11 hairpin, and I think that is what the safety car is for, because yes, you can see there the recovery vehicle towing Xiao Min's stricken Lamborghini away. Whenever you have a vehicle like that on the track, you more or less have to throw a safety car, and that is Song Bo leaving his stricken Radical, so the safety car will probably have to stay out a little longer. There is the, well, another rescue truck as well, as the safety car comes around, with Betty Chen leading the field at the moment, and Nick Yellerly up in 5th position. Now this is good news for Nick Yellerly, because every driver in front of him is an amateur driver, and he is the highest ranked pro driver still in the race. All the other pro drivers taking part in the first portion of the race, and he elected to take part in the second portion of the race. And well, yesterday Nick Yellerly's race was ruined a little bit by an unfortunately timed safety car, and it seems that the intervention of the safety car today is very much going to play into his hands. So very much a reversal of fortunes for Nick Yellerly here today in Tianjin. 21 minutes still to run. The safety car's lights still on. When those lights go off, that's the signal that the safety car is coming in and that we're going racing again, but no sign of that just yet. Here, let's have another look at this is the start, and you can see Picariello going very wide on the left-hand side. The two, one of the Lamborghinis and Wu Pei's Porsche going a bit side by side there, but Joe Osborne managed to negotiate everything and emerge in the lead. Not too much in the way of incident, as that was Jesse Krohn getting very close behind the back of Joe Osborne. It took a few laps for the Finnish driver to overtake. Here we are again, a replay of the opening few laps. That's Picariello going past Peter Liao for 3rd place. And this is when Jesse Krohn finally got past Osborne after several laps of trying. Much better exit out of that turn 11 hairpin, and then a better drive and better speed on the straight, and that took him past up into the lead. And this is where Picariello did likewise. A little bit of wheel banging there, but all's fair in love and war. And Picariello up the inside of Joe Osborne. Almost a carbon copy of how Jesse Krohn did it, but a little bit more forceful. But Picariello, that's how he made it up into 2nd place. Joe Osborne then down to 3rd. as they came into the pits. And let's go down to the pits now and see who Sophie's talking to.
好的，现在在我身旁的91号车组的车手是 Jessie， 他的搭档 Betty 正在场上竞争。Let's just cross back。现在在场上的情形呢，我们可以听到就是比赛正式开始了 ，Safety car is out。And Jessie, talk about the very beginning, especially have fantastic start for you, starting from 7 and now finish your turn, already jump to the first.
Yeah, well, I did all I could, all I promised. I said to the team I will try and push as hard as I can to give Betty as big of a lead as I possibly can, because she's relatively inexperienced, very young. It's very difficult for her to manage the race situation, so I tried to give her as big of a gap as I could. I did all I can. Now the safety car reset all the hard work I did, so now we see how we end up in the race.
Thank you so much, Jessie, and keep an eye on fourth car number 91. Jessie 呢说了一下，其实他呢在比赛开始之前就向自己的队伍保证，他一定要做好最好的成绩，因为他的搭档 Betty 呢是一个比较年轻的，而且可能经验略微欠缺的一位车手，所以呢他希望是拉开距离，给他的他的队友更多的优势来进行接下来的比拼。那刚刚呢大家已经看到了有安全车，所以呢这个优势呢就被抹灭了。不过接下来的比赛将会怎样进行呢？我们一起来关注一下实时的画面。And now it's our time, Chris, back to you guys.
Thank you, Sophie. And yes, the safety car is in now, as you can see. And, well, as Jesse Krohn alluded to, the safety car really did undo all of his good work. The big lead that he had made up. And we're looking now at Jesse's teammate, Betty Chen, doing a good job in second place, but having been overtaken for the lead by Han Han, Joe Osborne's co-driver. Han Han, an amateur driver, but a very experienced amateur driver, as we look at Nick Yellerly going up the inside of Jeffrey Lee and almost taking out Betty Chen as they come through the first corner. So Nick Yellerly up into third place now, and Betty Chen in second place. I should think will let Nick Yellerly through, won't put up too much of a fight. Yellerly goes through into second place, Betty Chen down to third, Jeffrey Lee in fourth place in the 8.8 Mercedes. And Nick Yellerly will now get on with the serious business of hunting down Han Han for the win. Yellerly, just as Jesse Krohn has been today, Yellerly's race yesterday was ruined by the safety car, but it seems as if the safety car will end up being very advantageous for Yellerly today. Although the incident involving Yellerly and the 186 car of Xiao Min at turn 10 is now under investigation by the stewards, so there could be a twist in the tail just yet. But for the meantime, Yellerly still in second place, closing in on Han Han, Betty Chen in third, Jeffrey Lee in fourth place. There is Betty Chen in third, Jeffrey Lee challenging in fourth position just behind, and there are your top four. Han Han just coming through now, Nick Yellerly in second place, Betty Chen in third. Fourth place is Jeffrey Lee. Just about 3/4 of the race gone. 1/4 still to go as Betty Chen and Jeffrey Lee come round the final corner to begin lap 25. Han Han still in the lead. Nick Yellerly in second place, the gap 2.2 seconds between those two. Jeffrey Lee just 0.46 seconds behind Betty Chen. Betty Chen, very young and very inexperienced, but doing a very good job in holding Jeffrey Lee at bay as he goes for a look up the inside and takes, does he? Yes, Jeffrey Lee now up into second place. Betty Chen down to fourth. Jeffrey Lee into third place, excuse me. Nick Yellerly in second place, and Han Han still in the lead. So as they come through the tight double left-hander at turn 9 and 10, it's Jeffrey Lee in third place, Betty Chen in fourth place. And let's head back down to the pit lane and hear more from Sophie.
好，在我身旁的25号车组的 Dominic， 但是呢，其实到他的轮次，已经是 GTC 组的最快了。但是宋波好像开上之后，车遇到了一些问题。据你所知，是发生了什么问题？而且好像很遗憾，已经是不能继续比赛了，对吧？
对，他跟我们的司机师说，好像是那个轴断了，所以可能是轴的问题。
那对于这周末的比赛，你自己的体验有没有什么想分享的？比如说这条赛道给你带来的最大的难点，以及你觉得至今这一周你最想分享的内容是什么呢？
那这周呢，我希望能比完比赛，因为我们前2个的比赛都没比完，所以今天又没比完了。这个比赛呢，最困难是那个热气是太热，所以我刚才跑地棒的时候也没 push 完，因为怕等下那个刹车没刹车给宋波，所以也是没开那么快，都是要保养那个车。
谢谢 Dominic. Thank you so much. Dominic just summarizes that his teammate Songbo made some dive shaft problem. Probably it's broken. And at the same time, his biggest wish this weekend is to finish the race, though the car is broken. So sorry for that. It's a shame. Now it's your time. Cross back to your guys. 接下来转回到我们的解说间。
Yes, we saw the 25 car of Songbo pulling off to the side of the road earlier on, as we look now at the battle for the lead between Nick Yellerly and Han Han. Han Han, an amateur driver, but a very experienced amateur driver. He's had plenty of experience in rallying, and he's clearly putting that to good use on the circuit, because he's still holding his own, still in the lead. Nick Yellerly having a look up the inside, but no way through. Han Han still in the lead with 14 minutes of the race to go. Han Han's last lap a 1:39.9, Nick Yellerly a 1:38.1 as he gets very close as they come through the right-hander at turn 13. Han Han going defensive, Yellerly looking to take the wide line. This is the chicane, very difficult to overtake at this part of the track. They come round now to the double right-hander. Han Han just going a little bit wide there, and Yellerly going up the inside. And Han Han going wide, Yellerly up into the lead, up into first place. So as they come through to start lap 27, it's Nick Yellerly in the lead. Han Han now down into second position. The Chinese driver had held off Nick Yellerly for several laps, but ran wide at the last corner. And in a double piece of good news for Nick Yellerly, the incident between himself and Xiao Min, the stewards have said no further action will be taken. So no danger of Nick Yellerly receiving any sort of sanction or punishment for his role in that collision there. The incident involving cars 75 and 88 in the pit lane is under investigation. That's when Picariello nudged the back of CJ Huang as they both came in at the same time. So the stewards having a look at that as well, and we'll wait to see what they have to say about that. But meanwhile, on the track, it's Nick Yellerly sitting pretty in the lead at the moment, pulling away from Han Han, who himself has a very handsome lead over Jeffrey Lee in third place, 8.7 seconds at the last count. Jeffrey Lee 4.1 seconds ahead of Betty Chen in the 91 BMW. Lin Nan in fifth position in the 66 Mercedes. A very slow lap from Lin Nan, 1:46.3, some 3 seconds slower than Betty Chen in fourth place, 1:43.5. Meanwhile, there is Nick Yellerly, the race leader, ready to start lap 28 here in Tianjin. And his last lap there, a 1:37.9, and Han a 1:39.9, and you can see the gap, 2.4 seconds. So Nick Yellerly, after suffering disappointment yesterday, only managing to finish in fourth place after an unfortunately timed safety car, is benefiting from a very fortunately timed safety car in this race today. So it just shows you what a difference a day makes in the China GT Championship, as we look at Jeffrey Lee in third place. Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello not finishing yesterday's race after contact. So Jeffrey Lee, another driver who will want to finish the race. And of course, this is all about championship points as well. Nick Yellerly, the championship leader, and Jeffrey Lee in second place. Yellerly only finished fourth yesterday, but Jeffrey Lee failed to score. So Yellerly still managed to extend his lead at the top of the driver's standings. And as things stand, he's set to extend it still further, as we look at Betty Chen, who is in fourth place, coming through the hairpin at turn 11, taking a lot of curb on the inside there. Betty Chen's best, or last lap, a 1:43.365. and she's managing to keep the distance to Min Hung, or Lin Nan, excuse me. Min Hung was driving the 66 Mercedes in the first portion of the race. And let's go back down to the pit lane again and hear more from Sophie.
好，在我身旁的66号车组的闵恒，其实闵恒昨天呢，你们的成绩是非常不错，拿下全场第2，而且这也是应该是绅士车组拿下的非常好的一个成绩了。那么今天呢，现在是暂居第5，但是是绅士车组的第1。说一下，就这周末在这儿的比赛的整体的感受，尤其是驾驶奔驰的赛车在天津赛道的比赛的整体的这个体验。
对，这个赛道我们也是第一次来，然后本场的练习也是非常少的，我们只做了1次官方练习，然后就开始排位了。然后上一回合我们取得了在 China GT 的这个历史上的最好的成绩，就是我们以绅士车手的组合也相当于进入了全场的一个名次。然后这个回合呢，比昨天的温度其实还要高一点，然后我们采取的策略其实是不换胎，用这一套胎跑完整个比赛。所以到后面对轮胎和刹车的消耗会很大。现在希望我的队友在场上能够 hold 住他自己的位置，然后我们这一场就可以在组别继续获得第1。
好的，非常感谢闵恒，也希望林楠能够真的像你所说 hold 得住哈。So 闵恒 just mentioned about actually this weekend pretty good performance because yesterday they took the second overall and today they are so far leading the amateur category. At the same time, because today the temperature is hotter than yesterday, so it definitely has a high demand on the tires. The strategy today is using just one set of tire for the whole race. So he just wish his teammate can have a good luck. Thank you so much, 闵恒。那接下来时间转回到我们的解说间，了解更多的信息。Cross back to your guys.
So, lap 30, Nick Yellerly still in the lead. Some 5 seconds ahead of Han Han in second position. Jeffrey Lee in third place, some 10 seconds behind Han Han. Betty Chen in fourth place, another 10 seconds or so adrift of Jeffrey Lee. Lin Nan in fifth position, some 12 seconds behind Betty Chen. So the front 5 all fairly spread out at the moment. Nick Yellerly's last lap a 1:38.6, Han Han a 1:39.8. So Nick Yellerly not pushing at 100%, I wouldn't have thought. The fastest lap of the race, some 1.5 seconds slower, set by Joe Osborne in the first portion of the race. Nick Yellerly can afford to just relax a little bit now and bring that car home, making sure that he finishes the race in first place. 7 minutes still to go. And Yellerly still very comfortably in the lead. Han Han, another good showing in second place. Han Han and Joe Osborne have only competed in 3 China GT races so far. This is their 4th, and in those 3 races they've managed 2 wins and a second place. And that McLaren 720S is brand new as well. First appearance in the China GT Championship, last time out in Qinhuangdao, and it's proving to be a very impressive piece of kit. As we look at the third place man Jeffrey Lee in the 88 car, the Craft Bamboo Racing Mercedes. Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello, his teammate, having failed to score yesterday after having to retire with contact early on. But Jeffrey Lee in a fairly solid third place at the moment. 1:41.2 his last lap. And Betty Chen behind in fourth place, a 1:41.9. So Betty Chen, another driver, performing very well and very consistently at the moment. Oh, and a little bit of contact with the wall there. Jeffrey Lee getting a little bit too close to those retaining walls for comfort. This is the portion of the track where it's demarcated by these very intimidating looking retaining walls, and Jeffrey Lee gave an almighty thwack with his right rear tyre. You can see a bit of tyre mark on the wall afterwards as well, but looks as if he's okay. Doesn't look as if there's too much in the way of lasting damage, but he won't want to be doing that again. run the risk of damaging his suspension. This is the 66 car of Lin Nan, just putting a lap on the 75 car. Lin Nan going very wide there. I'm not sure he meant to do that. Trying to put a lap on the 75 car, but that car has had to unlap itself now. Wang Tao driving that car. The 75 YC Racing Lamborghini leading the GTC category. The 66 car also a member of the YC Racing stable, but racing in the GT3 category instead. As Nick Yellerly puts another lap on the 82 Lamborghini of Shang Lei. Shang Lei, one of 3 drivers in the race today to have driven the whole thing, the other 2 being Peter Liao and Wu Pei. Nick Yellerly just negotiating the turn 11 hairpin there. 3 retirements so far. The 25 Extreme Motorsports Radical we saw stop on track of Dominic Ang and Song Bo. Peter Liao ultimately had to retire on lap 20 in the pit lane, and the 186 car, after contact with Nick Yellerly, had to retire on lap 18, and that was the car that brought out, well, that was the incident rather, that brought out the safety car. So Nick Yellerly can count himself a little lucky that his car wasn't also damaged in that incident, and of course that was the fact that the safety car came out has played very nicely into Nick Yellerly's hands. So Nick Yellerly was doubly lucky there, really. But he was very unlucky yesterday with the timing of the safety car, so over the course of the season, you think these incidents would tend to even themselves out. Yellerly now has a 9.9 second lead over Han Han in second place. Han Han just putting a lap on Shang Lei himself. 3 minutes of the race still to go, and it looks as if it's all over bar the shouting. Han Han 17 seconds ahead of Jeffrey Lee, who doesn't appear to be suffering anything in the way of ill effects from that bit of contact with the wall earlier. His last lap a 1:43.9, which isn't particularly quick, but Betty Chen behind her last lap a 1:42.4. So she is still 11.5 seconds behind Jeffrey Lee, and there's probably only time for 1 or 2 more laps after this, as Nick Yellerly just coming up to one of the back markers. Wu Pei a bit of brake smoke there, perhaps taken a little bit by surprise by the fact that Nick Yellerly was coming up behind him quite so quickly. Wu Pei taking a very wide line going through turn 12. We've seen quite a few drivers doing that earlier on today, and a few of them having their collars felt by the stewards as a result. Nick Yellerly now coming around that double right-hander to start another lap. The final lap board not out just yet, so this is lap 34. By my reckoning, the final lap should be lap 35, although Nick Yellerly may yet get to start another lap before the clock ticks down to 0. We'll have to see. But in any case, not more than 2 laps remaining, I shouldn't think. And after a disappointing day yesterday, Nick Yellerly will be very pleased with this, not just for winning the race, because all racing drivers are competitive and want to win as much as they possibly can, but Nick Yellerly, with only 1 more race weekend to go in Shanghai, so only 2 more rounds of the 2019 China GT Championship to go, Nick Yellerly will be thinking very much about the championship now. He was ahead of Jeffrey Lee before we came into the race weekend yesterday. Before yesterday's race, he was 8 points ahead of Jeffrey Lee, and with Jeffrey Lee not scoring in yesterday's race, Yellerly picked up some useful points for 4th place, and he's going to extend his lead over Jeffrey Lee again today, all things being equal, providing nothing disastrous happens in the final 40 seconds of the lap. As just as I say that, Yellerly's teammate Ivan Lee a little bit too close for comfort there, just making sure that he gets out of the way by any means necessary. The last thing he wants to do is disrupt his teammates' chance of a win here at Tianjin. Yellerly coming around the final corner. Is this going to be? Yes, this is the final lap. So Nick Yellerly going over the line to start lap 35, and this is the final lap of the race. Nick Yellerly's last lap, a 1:39.0, and Han Han yet to come round. Yes, he is. He's just come round now. 14.9 seconds the gap now. Han Han a 1:41.1. There he is, Han Han. It won't be another win today like it was yesterday, but nonetheless a very good performance from Han Han and from his teammate Joe Osborne. They battled hard and drove very well, but ultimately, firstly the safety car period and also the 50 kilograms of success ballast working against Osborne and Han there in their aim to win. But nevertheless, second, a very good result, and this will mean 2 wins and 2 second places in the last 4 races. So Osborne and Han Han, and that McLaren 720S, clearly the cars and drivers in form at the moment, as Yellerly comes around turn 12 on his merry way to what has turned out to be quite a convincing victory. And yes, there was some good fortune with the safety car, which only came out because of an incident that he himself was involved in, and you can see the front of his car bearing the scars from that clash with Xiaomin. But no such problems for Nick Yellerly. He's managed to stroke it home. He rounds the final corner, and Nick Yellerly wins at Tianjin in round 10 of the 2019 China GT Championship. His team waving and congratulating him there. Behind him, sharing some of the glory, Ivan Lee crossing the line in a lapped 6th place. Han Han coming across the line in 2nd place. Another very good drive from Han Han and his teammate Joe Osborne. Jeffrey Lee will be coming around next in 3rd position. There he is. Perhaps not as profitable a weekend as Jeffrey Lee would have liked for the championship. A retirement and a 3rd place. Not ideal when compared with Yellerly's 4th place and a win, but there's still plenty of points to play for in the final race weekend, the final 2 rounds of the 2019 China GT Championship in Shanghai next month. So Jeffrey Lee finishes in 3rd place. There is Betty Chen finishing in 4th position. A good drive from Betty Chen, and that equals her best result of the China GT Championship so far this year. Disappointment, perhaps, for Jessie Krohn and Betty Chen that they were not able to take advantage of the lead that Jessie Krohn had built up in the first portion of the race. But again, with one eye on the next meeting in Shanghai, the fact that they finished out of the top 3 means that they won't be subject to any success ballast next time out. So Jessie Krohn and Betty Chen in round 11 in Shanghai next month could be a good bet for a good result, as could this man, Nick Yellerly, although he'll have to take on 50 kilograms of success ballast. He's driven very, very well all weekend, and he'll now have one eye very firmly on the 2019 China GT Championship as he comes round on his victory lap, savouring the moment. Further down the field, 5th place was Min Hung and Lin Nan after their 2nd place finish yesterday. Never really got going to quite the same extent today, but obviously their good drive yesterday meant that they had to contend with 35 kilos of success ballast. Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen finishing in 6th place. Then 7th on the road, and the winner of the GTC category, CJ Huang and Wang Tao in the 75 Lamborghini that survived the little brush there at the entrance to the pit lane with Alessio Picariello and took the win in the GTC category. 2nd in the GTC, the 918 car of Zheng Wancheng and Zhou Bi Huang, who won yesterday's GTC race, as the car's coming into the pit lane now, and the drivers ready to receive the congratulations and adulation from their teammates and fellow drivers. There is Nick Yellerly, being congratulated by Joe Osborne. Nice to see a bit of camaraderie there. Those two know each other very well, driven in British GT alongside each other. interesting to hear Joe Osborne and Han Han comparing notes there. And that device that drapes around the driver's shoulders, that is the HANS device, short for head and neck support, and that is a standard feature across motorsport all over the world, introduced some 15 or 20 years ago. It's now mandatory, and that attaches to the helmet and prevents the driver's head from moving too much in the event of a sudden impact or collision, so helps prevent head and neck injuries, and a very vital component of all motorsport these days. Nick Yellerly and Jesse Krohn comparing notes there. And the rest of the drivers all getting out very hot this afternoon in Tianjin, and I should think those drivers would be after a glass of something cold very shortly indeed. Lin Yu there in the background, and he and Nick Yellerly celebrating a job well done, and first place here in round 10 of the 2019 China GT Championship at Tianjin. There is Wang Tao. He and CJ Huang can be well pleased with their day's work, winning the GTC category and coming 7th on the road. The 918 car next to them, that finished 2nd. The Lamborghini, the YC racing car of Joby Huang and Zheng Wancheng. Handshakes and backslaps all round for Nick Yellerly. Disappointing day for BMW yesterday, but much better showing today, winning the race. And with Jesse Krohn and Betty Chen finishing 4th, despite suffering in the safety car period. All smiles for Nick Yellerly there, debriefing with his team members and his engineers. And Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen finishing in 6th place. So 3 FIS Team AAI BMWs in the top 6 of the race. And that will be very important for the team's championship as well. Confirmation then of the final race result. Nick Yellerly and Lin Yu winning the race ahead of Joe Osborne and Han Han. Alessio Picariello and Jeffrey Lee rounding out the podium places. Then Jesse Krohn and Betty Chen finishing in 4th place. Min Hang and Lin Nun in 5th position. In 6th place, Ivan Lee and Kevin Chen. And then we come to the GTC runners. The winner of the GTC category, CJ Huang and Wang Tao in 7th place overall. In 8th place overall and 2nd in GTC, the 918 car of Zheng Wancheng and Joby Huang. 9th on the road was the number 8 car of Wu Pei, the Porsche, the sole contestant in the one-make trophy category. And 10th and the final classified runner, the 82 car of Shang Lei. And the 3 non-classified runners, Dominic Ang and Song Bo, Peter Liao in his number 2 car, and the 186 Lamborghini of Li Jiaqi and Xiao Min. Safety car and the medical car just giving the track a once-over there. You can see the debris in the background, and also at the side of the road. You see those little specks on the side of the road. Those are little pieces of rubber being kicked up by the tyres, or what are called marbles. Little pieces of rubber, that chunks of rubber that fly off the tyres during the race. And you don't want to go offline and hit those, because it can be very slippery indeed. Always good to stay on the racing line, as we see the cars now being towed and being pushed out onto the track for the podium ceremony. Unusually, of all the tracks that we go to on the China GT calendar, here at Tianjin, the podium ceremony takes place right on the track, allowing the spectators to get very close to the action and see for themselves. And the complimentary champagne spraying will take place then. We'll be going to the podium ceremony shortly, and we'll be interviewing some of the drivers as well. It's been a fantastic race weekend here at Tianjin, round 9 and 10 of 12 rounds in the 2019 China GT season. We started off in March in Malaysia at Sepang, the first time that the China GT Championship has been outside China. And let's take a look at the highlights of the best of today's action in Tianjin. So the top three finishers there lined up on the grid. Nick Yellerly and Lin Yu's number 90 FIS Team AAI BMW leading the pack. Then the 111, the winning team McLaren 720S of Han Han and Joe Osborne in second place. And in third place, the Craft Bamboo Racing number 88 Mercedes of Jeffrey Lee and Alessio Picariello. We'll be getting to the podium ceremony very shortly. Several ceremonies to get through today, not just the GT3, but also the GTC categories. And a fantastic day for it here in Tianjin. No danger of the torrential downpours that we saw in Qinhuangdao and Shanghai for the last couple of race weekends. Fantastic sunshine, very, very hot here in Tianjin, even though it is September. We're in North China, about half an hour away from, well, 45 minutes away from the capital, Beijing. And it does get very hot at this time of year in this part of the world. So one more race weekend to go. We've just had rounds 9 and 10 here in Tianjin. Rounds 11 and 12, the finale of the 2019 China GT season, will take place in Shanghai in mid-October. It's been a fantastic season of China GT racing so far. And let's go and hear from the race winners, Nick Yellerly and Lin Yu. They're with Sophie now.
好，在这里呢，非常恭喜在我身旁90号车组两位车手 Nick Yellerly 和他的搭档林宇是获得了我们在天津站的第2回合 GT3 组别的冠军。Congratulations for both of you. Starting from you, Nick, taking the victory today, especially under this kind of weather condition. This victory just make up some disappointment from yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it swung our way today, and it swung against us yesterday with the safety car. So, yeah, we weren't necessarily expecting a safety car, particularly with the pros mostly starting. So it was a bit of a gamble from our side, but it seemed to pay off as we had a relatively strong result yesterday. And then, yeah, our first win since Ningbo. So really, really happy. And I know Fishbone really wanted to win here because it's close to his home city in Beijing. So, yeah, we brought home the win.
Thank you so much, Nick. 那 Nick 呢跟大家分享了一下，其实这一站比赛呢是他们自宁波之后再次久违的冠军，所以非常不易。而且呢，今天很多都是职业车手先发车，所以呢对于他们来说也是一个非常大的挑战。他搭档林宇呢也做得非常不错。那问一下林宇，其实很多我们现场的观众朋友肯定也都看到了你的精彩表现，尤其是因为在换人的环节，其实你的位置呢也不是说是已经到第一。跟我们说一下，到你的棒次的时候是如何出色发挥来成功超越前方的这些非常强有力的竞争对手的。
其实我在开的时候，我还是尽量保持我的圈速稳定，因为我们跟所有其他的 GT3 车组的这个策略是不一样的啊。我们是业余车手先开，然后接着换上 Pro 的车手。那么在我的这个 Steam， 我只要保持这个车不要落后太多，把我的这个单圈时间做好，那么再交回给 Nick 会在最后35分钟去追进前车，所以我只是做我该做的啊，其实就是这样。那也很幸运的后面出了个安全车，那把很大的一个优势啊都已经消耗掉了，那么 Nick 从最后慢慢超到第一的位置啊。
非常感谢林宇。林宇 summarizes the victory actually definitely contributed to their strategy because most of the teams decided to use pro driver at the very beginning and they just have the Lin Yu to take the first stint. However, when Nick Congratulations one more time, enjoy the victory this weekend. 接下来时间将我们现场转交回解说间，稍后呢我们将会有 GTC 组别的冠军采访为您带来 Cross Spectators guys.
Yes, and although Nick Yellerly didn't mention it there, I'm pretty sure he'll by now have one eye very firmly on the GT3 Drivers' Championship. He mentioned there that this was his first win since Ningbo. He took both wins that weekend, round 3 and round 4. He also won the very first round of the year in Malaysia, then a brace of second places in Shanghai, third place in round 2 in Malaysia. And let's go back down to Sophie now on the grid.
在这里呢，同样也要非常祝贺在我身旁的75号车组的黄西展和王涛是拿下了 GTC 组别的冠军。先从黄西展开始，因为其实我们一开始已经采访过你了，但我们也看到了在换人环节的时候，安全这个我们的 pit 里边是发生了一些小小的问题啊，能不能跟我们解释一下到底是发生了什么事情？对于总的成绩以及你们的整个 pace 有什么样的影响？
就像我今年刚开始赛前我说的，今天的天气非常的炎热，所以对刹车来讲是非常的吃力。那其实到了赛季中段，差不多就是快接近换人前的时候，基本上我们的刹车是已经不是那么样的好，所以要进来换手的时候呢，可能后面的车跟得我太近了，那我们已经把速度减下来了，然后他从后面直接追尾上来，对，然后所以后来在这个维修区里面，他就一路追着我，顶着我走，对，所以就让大家看到那个状况，就是整个后保杆的这个后尾的老刘都被撞掉了，对。
非常谢谢西展。但是其实确实是在这样的天气条件下，车况的调试确实也是我们比赛当中的一个最重要的环节。Actually, the car performance Xijan mentioned about it is because the weather condition is really hot, which is really high demand for the braking system, as he said before the race. And as everyone can see, when he get into the pit, car behind him, number 88, is really close, so they have a contact, which lead to this kind of collision, as you can see. 那王涛说一下这一场冠军，那有没有为就是昨天没能拿到冠军，弥补一些遗憾，尤其是因为在现在快要接近赛季末了，每一场比赛的胜利都有可能在车手积分榜上往上爬一点点，是不是非常有效的积分，也是非常开心的一个周末呢？
对，确实是。像今天其实天气很热，然后到后半程的时候刹车就几乎没有了，所以凭借着这个小小的拉力经验嘛，然后就一直在控制这个车的失控的状态。那后面一路挣扎到现在，然后关于积分的问题，我觉得就跟我身材一样比较胖，所以我们爬的也比较慢，所以我们就稳扎稳打吧。
好的，非常感谢王涛，也非常幽默的一个回答。王涛 mentioned about actually, because as everyone can experience and can see today, weather is good, weather is hot, so high demand, as Huang Xijan mentioned, for the braking. At the end of the last phase of the whole race, actually he lost lots of grip as well as the braking. So he tried to control the car as much as he can. At the same time, just try to grab more points as he can for the following up races. Thank you one more time. Enjoy the victory as well. 再次恭喜两位，也预祝两位有一个非常愉快的周末。接下来时间呢，转交回我们的解说间 ，Cross Back to you guys.
Yes, a nice victory for CJ Huang and Wang Tao in the GTC category. Their second victory of the China GT season after having won round 6 in Shanghai. But Joby Huang still considerably leading the GTC championship standings. There is the race winning number 90 FIS Team AAI BMW. Nice to see 3 different manufacturers being represented in the top 3 cars there. BMW, McLaren and Mercedes. These cars all, of course, heavily modified versions of production cars that you could buy and drive away from your local showroom as well. Not like single-seater racing, which is where the cars are built specifically for that purpose. These are heavily modified versions of production cars, and that's one of the core tenets of GT racing and has been for a very long time. It's been a fantastic weekend here at the V1 Auto World Circuit in Tianjin, and let's go to the podium ceremony.
GT3 第2回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of the GT3 class at the Round 2 of the China GT Championship 2019 in Tianjin. 首先，让我们有请本场的冠军车队，来自于 FIS Team AAI. The winning team of the class is FIS Team AAI. 有请本场第三名车组合来自于 EWS Crack Bumble Racing, Alessio Picarello and Jeffrey Lee. The second run-up goes to from EWS Crack the Bumble Racing, Alessio Picarello and Jeffrey Lee. 有请本场第2名车组合来自于 FIS Team AI, Jess Crow 和 Betty Chen.The first run-up goes to from FIS Team AI, Jess Crow and Betty Chen. 有请本场第2名车手组合来自于圣之队车队，韩寒 Joseph Osborne。The first run-up goes to from the winning team, Han Han and Joseph Osborne。有请本场冠军车手组合来自于 VCMAI Nick Yololi 和林宇。The champion is from VCMAI Nick Yololi and 林宇。同样有请本场的最快圈速获得者来自于圣之队车队 Joseph Osborne。有请我们的颁奖嘉宾来自于米其林亚太赛事总监马奔先生。Let's welcome our passenger to the Award Top 3 Place Getters, Michelin Asia Pacific Motorsport Director, Mr. Ma Ben。
合影，我们往外撤。
请我们的车手举起你们手中的奖杯。
来看这里，看这里，是，谢谢。看这儿，看这边回马枪，谢谢。赛道是谁的？
好的，谢谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么接下来留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time.
马老师，你还有水吗？
那你行，你要跳出来跳100遍，跳上去，跳上来跳100遍。能不能走？
不用带了。
那么接下来您将继续看到的是 China GT 2019赛季中国超级跑车锦标赛天津站 GT3 Pro M 组的第2回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of a GT3 PA class at the Round 2 of China GT Championship 2019 Tianjin。有请我们本场第3名车手组合来自于 EWS Prep Bumble Racing Alessio Picarello 和 Jeffrey Lee。The second runner-up goes to from EWS Prep Bumble Racing Alessio Picarello and Jeffrey Lee。有请本场第2名车手组合来自于圣之队。韩寒和 Joseph Osborne. The first runner-up goes to from the winning team, Han Han and Joseph Osborne. 有请本场冠军车手组合来自于 FIS Team AI, Nick Yellowly 和林玉。The champion is from FIS Team AI, Nick Yellowly and 林玉。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾。来自于凯比丹斯大中华区 CEO 潘国成先生。Let's welcome our president to the award top 3 place getters, the Director China CEO of Kerbin Dance, Sami Peng.
大家请看这里，大家请看这里，请看这里，谢谢。这个好像从手印上看有没有？要是南站西站的话，肯定就没有。
好的，感谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么接下来留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time.
新闻房我认识，去找吧。去，那你用这机器去啊？对，你也录不了，对吧？好。
欢迎您继续回到我们的颁奖台。那现在您将继续看到的是2019赛季 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛天津站 GT3 AM 组第2回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of a GT3 AM class at the Round 2 of China GT Championship 2019 in Tianjin。有请本场的第2名车手组合来自于 FIS Team AI 李月勋和陈君华。The first runner-up goes to from FIS Team AI, Ewan Lee and Kevin Chen. 有请本场冠军车手组合来自于 YC Racing 闵恒和林楠。The champion is from YC Racing 闵恒 and 林楠。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾来自于凯比丹斯品牌设计总监 Aaron Petrosian. Let's welcome our president to the award top 3 place getters, Mr. Aaron Petrosian, chef designer officer of Kerbin Dance.
大家请看这里，大家请看这里，谢谢。看那边灰色马甲。
好的 ，Thank you。现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。Now is the champagne time。
下一轮准备好了，倒数吧。
接下来您将继续收看的是2019赛季 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛天津站 GTC 组的第2回合的颁奖仪式。So now let's welcome the top 3 place getters of a GTC class and the winning team onto the podium。有请本场的冠军车队来自于 YC Racing， 有请。有请本场第3名车手组合来自于 YCRT 上垒。The second runner-up goes to from YCRT 上垒。有请本场第2名车手组合来自于 YC Racing 郑婉成和周碧煌。The first runner-up goes to from YC Racing 郑婉成 and 周碧煌。有请本场的冠军车手组合同样来自于 YC Racing 黄熙展和王涛。The champion is from YC Racing CJ Huang and 王涛。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾。来自于米其林亚太赛事总监马奔先生。Let's welcome our president to award top 3 place getters from Michelin Asia Pacific Motorsport Director Mr. Ma Ben。好，恭喜我们 GTC 组的车手。那么现在是我们的上面时间。欢迎您继续回到我们的 China GT 的颁奖台。那么接下来您将看到的是2019赛季 China GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛 GTC 绅士组第2回合的颁奖仪式。Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the podium ceremony of a GTC AM class at the round 2 of China GT Championship 2019 Tianjin。首先，让我们有请本场的第3名车手组合，来自于 YCRT 上垒。 The second runner-up goes to from YCRT 上磊。有请本场的第2名车手组合来自于 YC Racing 郑婉成和周碧煌。The first runner-up goes to from YC Racing 郑婉成 and 周碧煌。有请本场的冠军车手组合，同样来自于 YC Racing 黄希展和王涛。The champion is from YC Racing 谢对煌 and 王涛。有请我们本场的颁奖嘉宾，来自于台北单丝大中华区 CEO 潘国成先生和何勇先生。Let's welcome our prisoner to the award top 3 place getters, the Greater China CEO of Curb Dance, Sami Peng and He Yong.
Hello， 大家请看这里，开心一点，活泼一点。谢谢。
好的，非常感谢我们的颁奖嘉宾。那么现在留给我们车手的是香槟的时间。那
好的，在这里呢，祝贺我们本周末2回合正赛的所有组别的获胜的车手们。那同样呢，我们天津站的比赛也在2回合的正赛结束之后正式尘埃落定了。那不过没有关系，我们10月份呢，整个 GT 中国超级跑车锦标赛将会移师到上海国际赛车场进行我们的年度收官之战，所以希望我们的观众朋友们锁定我们的官方网站的最新消息以及我们的比赛资讯，获取更多的精彩图片和视频。Ladies and gentlemen, one more time, congratulations to all the drivers who take the wins in different categories for races to here in Tianjin International Circuit. And please stay tuned with us because our season finale will be in Shanghai in October. Stay tuned with us and sign up right now from 天津。接下来时间，再次感谢大家的收看，我们上海见，拜拜。